Welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam Smith, and inside this video we head into the finale for Champions of Rokugan, an extended play in the second scenario of the prototype from Monolith Games. For those individuals watching that have not checked out part number 1 of this scenario, I'll put a link in the top right hand corner so you can find that video and watch it in order to get caught up. We have 6 turns to win this one, and we're currently 3 turns deep. We're headed into the 4th turn right now. The turn marker is going to increase to 4, and we're ready to go. We just need to set our activation order. I enjoy strategically thinking about how I want to activate the different individuals that I'm controlling, and here we have the yellow companion going first, followed by white, red, then my main champion, and then the green companion. Now, in terms of my strategy, the first thing I'm going to focus on is taking out this zombie peasant here. Once he's dealt with, then I'm going to go to the necromancer because we really need to dogpile with my companions in order to try to take that necromancer out. We'll probably be using my main champion to help from up there on top of the roof as well from distance. We're going to try and take it out before we trigger the event token up in the top right. That, of course, is the hope and the dream, but we'll see how things pan out as we go. So at this point, we're going to go ahead with the yellow champion, starting things off, and we're going to make an attack as we're in the same space. We'll spend 3 action points to pull off that attack, and we have 8. Now, as we make a melee attack against a zombie peasant, we are definitely outnumbering that zombie peasant as we have 2 companions in the space, so we're going to get the advantage of taking away a die, the weakest one from the enemy, but we're also losing an honor, so I've dropped it down by 1, so just 1 honor left on the yellow companion. I've gone ahead and gathered up the dice. We'll be removing 1 from the enemy side of the equation, and they can attack back. This is a melee attack, so we can take damage here. We'll have to see what we can do for defense. Let's make the roll. We do have 2 key points to use. A pretty solid roll to start things off. Now, the enemy's coming at us with 2 swords. We rolled 3 wind, which means we can, if we have this at the end of our roll, gain an AP as well as a health point back, which we can actually take advantage of both of those for the yellow companion. But here's the thing. I have no defense to go through for this enemy right now because it didn't roll any shields whatsoever for defense, so I just need to get 2 hits through. Technically, as of right now, I've got the 3 defense to block everything going on here with the swords, which is great. I could go ahead and use this on the offensive side of the equation. We just need to pull off 1 more offensive roll, and we want it, of course, to be the same type, so we want it to be water. We can go ahead with a key point and try and roll this. We got a 2 in 10 chance of pulling it off. I'm going to spend 1 key point to make a reroll. I'm just using the 1 die. Another strategy here is we could choose to use another one of these as part of the roll and just lose out on the bonuses that we would get by having 3 win, but it was still covered defensively what we need. We'll go ahead with 1 die and see if we get lucky here. Let's see if we get the water symbol. And we didn't. We actually got more defensive on the win side of the equation. So now we're going to go ahead and use another key point. I'm going to risk things, and we're going to roll this one as well as this thing just to hope that we get what we need. Now, we've got what we need defensively here. If we lock that in, we've got 1 offense here. We just need 1 more because these guys are 2 life points, and they have no defense right now, and we got it. That worked out perfectly. Now we still have action points remaining for the yellow companion, which is awesome. Primary reason why I used him first to try to take down the zombie peasant, because with the remaining 5 action points we have, we can spend 2 to get in the same space as the necromancer and do another attack. But at this point, we have no key points remaining. And it's worth mentioning we obviously didn't take advantage of the AP or the additional life point because we did not keep the 3 win for our final result of the roll. The yellow companion is making a melee attack against the necromancer who has a very strong 3 black dice roll, which is going to be terrifying to see the results of. And we're also going to be rolling our 5 elemental dice into the equation. Let's go ahead and see how things pan out because I'm at the mercy of the dice at this point. I've just dropped a die there. Let's see how things pan out in our first attack here against the necromancer to hopefully land some hits. An absolutely brutal roll for us, and you'll see up in the top right-hand corner, you'll notice the 2 key points for the yellow companion move from the available area over to the exhausted area. Those were used during the zombie peasant attack. I just didn't actually physically move those over. They're gone. I cannot use those to re-roll this roll in any way, shape, or form, and you can see I got a ton of offensive results and a single void here that's not going to help me use Call of the Void, so unfortunately, I'm not able to defend against any of these attacks coming through, which is absolutely brutal. Now, on the positive side, the necromancer didn't get any defense, so I can actually make some hits against it, but the yellow companion is going to fall. When a character you control is eliminated, it's going to gain 2 glory points. So down here on the glory track, the yellow one is currently sitting at 1. It's going to jump up to 3, and essentially it would have taken one of these tokens, so we'll take it away, but it's not going to be able to make use of it. Now this time, I'm going to update the Honorable Victory Threshold, which again is accumulation of all the default honor that everybody comes in with, plus 1 destiny point in the case of my main champion for a total of 18. So we're taking away 3 for the yellow champion that just died, so this is going to drop from where it's at 18 down to 15. And we're going to update the group honor because whatever honor the yellow companion had is going to be removed as well, but we'll do this towards the end of the round. I've also removed the yellow champion's dashboard off to the right, and we're removing the token for its activation for future use. With that abrupt ending, but we did at least place 2 damage on the Necromancer, which has a total life point of 7. We need 5 more damage to take it down. The white companion is now activating. The good news for the white companion is we're going in with 2 key points, so we at least have the ability to re-roll based on whatever we get and hopefully get some defense up because this Necromancer is going to likely hit us pretty good. We're going to go ahead right now and run in there, so it's going to take 2 action points to do so. I've got a total of 8, dropping us down to 6, and then we'll do a melee attack for 3, dropping us down to 3 remaining. So if we survive the first attack, we could make a second. Let's go ahead and gather our dice. It'll be the exact same roll we saw last time, which is terrifying because we could get this result once again. And we're going to roll these 5 dice. We do have the key points, as I mentioned. Let's see how this attack goes. I'm really hoping for next to no defense for the Necromancer because the less defense we got, the more chances we have of taking this thing down. Come on, let's make it happen. This is a very interesting roll. We got ourselves 2 of the water element, which is awesome because we can get an additional damage off of that. If we go for that one, we'd have 2 plus if we get another die result of that's 3, and then the combination of the 3 would be 4 going in, and only 1 defense means 3 would go in the Necromancer. That'd be a pretty solid hit. Now the thing is, can I hold on to these to block 2 of the 5 coming at me? Now in terms of health for the white companion, got a lot of health. I got 5, so I can handle a decent hit, but it's going to be pretty tight. Let's lean into getting as much damage on this Necromancer while the defense is low as possible. So we're going to go ahead and reroll all of these. We're going to keep the 2 water elements, and we're going to use a key point to reroll these ones, hoping for good things. Let's see how we do. That was definitely not the result I was hoping for, so we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. Do we keep the key point for a future attack? Will we even have a future attack? If I was to hold on to these 2 for defense, we'd be getting 3 damage, and we could actually make another attack in the future. This would only put, while we take a bunch of damage, we'd only put 2 on it, and then it would block 1. So only 1 would be going on the Necromancer, bringing it to 3, and we would need a total of 4 to pull off a kill. So the question is now the time to push for that, or should I kind of lean into doing it in the next turn? Either way, I think this individual may die trying to pull this off. It's actually a little bit scary. I'm going to go ahead and spend another key point. I'm going to re-roll those 3 again because the defenses are so low in the Necromancer this time. I really, really want to put as much damage as possible. I don't want to risk trying to do it all in the next attack. So here we go. Hoping for at least 1 water element out of these 3 dice. Come on, the odds have to be in my favor here. Let's see how it goes. Oh, we just barely got it. And what a great defensive roll as well. So that works out quite nicely. Very lucky on that one. So we got ourselves 3 water, which is going to be 4 total in terms of swords coming at the enemy. 1 defense, which means 3 is getting through for a total of 5 wounds on the Necromancer. Now it's coming back at me for 5 hits, and I've got 2 defense, so only 3 are getting through, dropping me from a total of 5 health down to 2. Now the Necromancer also has corruption of 2, so we're taking 2 points of corruption as we took damage from the Necromancer. And that's all right. Our purity is pretty high with the yellow companion. It's the green one that's on the brink of being completely corrupted. This one's going to drop down by 2. Also making an update to my action points, dropping them by 2 for the 2 movement I did to get to the Necromancer, and then the 3 in order to make a first melee attack. We still have 3 remaining. Also, as I did damage to the Necromancer, I get an increase of honor. So the white companion is going to jump up from 1 to 2. It's worth mentioning the previous companion would have got a jump up on honor, but it died in the process of putting the wounds onto the Necromancer. We only need 2 more life points to take out this Necromancer, but the downside is with my white companion right now, I'm in a weakened state. You'll see a little red dash next to my health, and as I took some damage there, I'm below that dash, or I've either when you meet it or are below it, you're going to be in what's known as a weakened state, which means instead of rolling 5 elemental dice, you're rolling just 4. So that's going to make this follow-up attack a little bit tougher and a little bit more dicey. Now, I don't have to make the attack at all. I could stop right here and choose to not do anything further, but this is the fun part of trying to figure out whether you want to kill off some of your companions in order to basically reduce the victory threshold for solo play, because again, as long as that's coming down, you can eventually meet it. But you also have to make sure your main champion has more glory overall than the companions, but the companions actually gain 2 glory when they're taken out. So it's not always great to be sacrificing them, but sometimes you need to just to get by because of the enemies on the board, like a Necromancer that's constantly corrupting your companions, potentially turning them against you. Now, a correction I need to make mention of is the fact that I accidentally grabbed the wrong dice for the Necromancer when attacking back at us. It's not the black dice when it's a ranged attack that I'm doing. It's a melee attack, so it'd be gray dice, which means we use the harder dice from the Necromancer, and that definitely doesn't help us out. So first off, I'm not going to retroactively change anything about the yellow companion that got decimated at all, because we'll leave that as is, but I can retroactively re-roll 3 gray dice for the Necromancer to see how it would have changed the last attack by this companion, the white companion. So now I'm going to roll the 3 gray dice that should have happened during the attack that came from the white champion, and we'll adjust accordingly. The Necromancer's roll here gives him 1 attack and 1 defense. The 1 defense is the exact same amount of defense he got off the black dice, so we don't have to change anything around how much damage went through to the Necromancer. That's perfect. But in terms of how much damage we took on the black dice, it had 5 swords. Now it only has 1, so the defense that we would have had in the prior attack there would completely stop any damage from coming through at all, so we actually get back 3 health for the white companion. Now, I'm very glad I caught that before we go in, because now I feel a lot more comfortable about risking it and going ahead with a follow-up attack right now, although we don't have to, but I think I will because I have the clearance to make it possible, and the gray dice are a little less threatening. So we'll certainly go ahead at this point and spend the AP to do it. The unfortunate thing is I didn't catch this until after the yellow companion attacked, and that companion's already dead. Also worth mentioning that as we didn't take any damage from the Necromancer, we don't take the corruption damage that I took. So that's going to go back up to 5, which means we're no longer corrupt, so that's great. We still have the remaining 3 AP. We're going to go ahead and spend it right now. And the great news going into this attack is we are not weakened. Our health is above, so we get all 5 elemental dice. Let's go ahead and make that second attack and see how we do. Gray dice for the Necromancer. Let's see what happens. So a very interesting roll, but it definitely leans toward the side of defense, but we could use Call of the Void to change those into 2 successes on the offensive side. So we could go ahead and do something like this. We discard this. We'll change these to fire, for example. That would be 2 hits, -1 defense. Only 1 would get through, and then 1 would be coming back at us. We'd choose one of these for defense. We could do that, kind of a 1-for-1. I think I'll go with that. So that damage that I inflict on the Necromancer and the one that's going to come at me for my white companion drops me down to 4. Also, we're going to gain honor because we place damage on the Necromancer. So the white companion is going to jump up to 3 total honor. Now, as I took a point of damage, I'm also taking some corruption. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't you just stick with the defense and just block it outright and not take any corruption damage? The main reason is I'm eyeing the glory off the kill of the Necromancer that I want to obtain with my main champion. I don't want the glory points to go to one of the other ones, so I want to be able to nab that all for myself. We're going to stop right there for the white champion. Moving on to the red champion. I'm actually planning to not use him to attack the Necromancer in any way, shape, or form, but I'm going to move this individual to be maybe in this space right here, knowing that we're going to have to deal with a spawn in the future and hold on to the rest of the action points. This will also provide the red champion a ton of action points going into the next turn, which is a benefit, and now my main champion is going to activate up top. My main champion is making an elevated ranged attack, which really doesn't change anything around the dice at all, but it does give you the advantage to be able to sit up top there and attack from a longer distance of 3 range away, and also reduce the effects of cover that the enemy could be using to its advantage. In this case, it's not going to be applied in any way, shape, or form. So we got 5 elemental dice going in. Now, range for the Necromancer this time is actually going to be black. So we're going to do this one correctly here, and we'll roll these dice together. I've spent 3 AP of the 6 I have to make this attack. Let's see if my main character can get what it needs in order to get the glory points. That is what I'm after here. What an insane roll for the Necromancer. 4 defense is going to make whatever I'm doing here really hard to get that 1 point of life off of it. So the question here is, do I spend the 2 key points I have re-rolling just 2 dice, hoping to kind of accumulate enough on the fire emblem, but there's no benefit in terms of additional offensive emblems in terms of keeping the fire. The water would have given me that extra bonus of 1 if I have 3. So this is probably not the best roll to be using re-rolls or key points on. So I think I'm going to stop right here and call this one a wash. So now let's go ahead and spend the last 3 AP. I got my 2 key points still, and let's hope for a better roll and less defense from the Necromancer. That was absolutely nuts what just happened there. Now again, we didn't get many swords coming our way, so that was a huge bonus, but that makes it really tough to kill. Now this is a much better roll. 3 water elements, which means a 4 total damage, 1 defense, actually sorry, 2 defense, so 2 getting through, more than enough to take out the Necromancer, and we have 2 defense with the earth, which means nothing damage-wise is coming back at us and no corruption. I gain a point of honor for putting damage on the Necromancer, which is great, up to 3. We could have gained an additional one if it had been melee combat, but it's not. Nothing else applies here. Now, in terms of the cards I have for objectives for clan, this would have been awesome, but unfortunately can't pull this one off because it says you have to eliminate an enemy whose life points are higher than 2 without sustaining any damage in return. So that would have been awesome. It was kind of what I was gunning for, but the kicker is also leaving the Necromancer with too much life means I might have run out of actions to make attacks this round, and it would have stuck around, and you know it's doling out some serious hurt when it does some damage. So I kind of had to make a choice there and have the glory points for just killing it be what I'm going after. So let's go ahead to the tracker and get the 4 glory points for taking out the Necromancer. So as you can see at the very bottom of the Necromancer card, it says +4, so we're going to go up 4. We're currently sitting at 1, so we're going to jump ourselves up to 5, which is awesome. And that's going to also allow us to take a token off the stack, so we have a defense here we can use when we want to. That's going to do it for her turn. She's got no more AP left, and we're happy to stop things right there. So we're going to activate the final individual, who is green, heading for the event token. The green companion is going to be moving over a dotted line, 1 space for 1 AP, to the east for another AP, and then north 1 AP to get into the event space, and we have some narrative to read when the token is triggered. The house is charged with a sinister energy. Murmurs and echoes of distant screams seem to emanate from every room. You finally catch sight of a message scratched on a wall signed by the missing nobleman. He writes that he has evacuated as many villagers as possible, but that a greater danger is approaching. He's gone to the south of the village to secure the area. At this point, it tells us to proceed to Act 2. The 3 AP has been spent for movement on the green companion, and we're now setting up for Act number 2. Here's a setup for Act number 2. You'll see a number of Ani tokens around the game board. 1 here, here, and here. There's one way up in the top left as well. We'll talk more about that later on, but essentially something spawning, which is not going to be fun as we transition from Act 2 to 3 in the future, hopefully, if we can get through Act number 2 here. And you'll see a new Necromancer shown up here with a room to explore. This is our primary objective. We're trying to find Shinjo. Act number 2 is called A Bad Feeling, which is exactly how I feel right now, and the green companion up there still has some action points to spend if we want to do it, but then the enemy phase will go, and as you can see on the game board, we'll have a lot more to deal with. We'll now go ahead and swap out the enemy cards to make sure they match for all the miniatures that are currently in play. The Elementalist is going to come out, Zombie Peasant's going to stay, Necromancer is going to stay, and a new enemy coming into the fray is the Skeleton Archer. The Skeletal Archer has 4 AP, 2 life points, and 1 size. The corruption it'll dole out is 1 when it makes damage on you. It's an insignificant miniature or enemy. It also states below, if this enemy performs a ranged combat, double white borders and split borders count as single white borders, which means it can really reach. The only thing that makes sense to me at this point is to get that green companion back into the action to hopefully soak up some damage when the enemy phase goes. It's only got 3 AP, so it's not going to make it too far. It'll go 1, 2, and back into the streets. That's going to do it for the Champions phase. We're now moving into the enemy phase. Let's find out what the Skeletal Archers are doing. Now, they would love to stay where they're at and just target this individual in line of sight, but unfortunately, there is a red line there, so they cannot do that. They're again using their assault behavior. They're trying to get to the closest companion or champion to make an attack based on the AP spent. So that's going to have them come down off the roof, and after they move down off the roof, they're not going to have the AP to be able to make an attack anyway. So that's great news for us. Now, it's also worth mentioning, as it stated on their card, they have the ability, when they make a ranged attack down on the street level, to go ahead and have double white borders and split borders count as single white borders. That's what makes them tough. You normally would get some kind of an effect like that when you're up in an elevated space only. So they're able to do really nasty shots when they are down inside of the street areas and stuff like that. They can get through things that otherwise other enemies could not normally do. Now, unfortunate for my main character, but maybe fortunate because I'm in the same space as the archers that are there, they're going to have to use their melee, which is only white dice. They're actually really weak up close and personal, so this actually works really well for me. Now, based on the 4 AP they have, they're going to stay exactly where they are, and they're each going to get a combat token to use against me. Last but not least is the Necromancer, who's surely going to come out into the streets to find out what's going on. We're very familiar with the Necromancer at this point, and it's got a total of 6 AP, so it's going to use 1 to move into the streets. That'll leave it with 5, and then a 3 is what it needs to make a ranged attack, and it can absolutely take a shot right here at the red one, and that's as much as it'll be able to pull off as a single attack. Now that we know what the enemies are doing, let's go ahead and resolve them. We'll start with the Skeletal Archers. My main champion, when doing melee attacks, only has 4 elemental dice going in, whereas the Skeletal Archers, as they take an attack one at a time, is going to come in with 2 white dice, so we actually might be able to pull off something here and maybe deal with some of them, which would be pretty awesome. Rather than having to focus mainly on actual defense, this could be our chance to try and take them out. The awesome news is my main champion didn't use any of her key points during her champion's phase, so I still have 2 key points to spend, and as you can see here, I could just hold on to something like this, and that would be enough to block the one sword coming at me, and now I could go ahead and use a key point to reroll 3 dice, hoping to find something better, or I could maybe even hold on to the fire element, which is probably what I'll do, and I'll just reroll these 2 right here, looking for another fire. If we get it, then we absolutely will kill off the skeleton archer coming at us for melee. We did not. So the question is, do we want to go fishing for that next one? Let's go ahead and do it and hope that we get an even better roll on the next one. We'll leave that up to the dice to decide, and unfortunately we did not get what we wanted there. With that one now resolved, let's go ahead with the other skeletal archer who's going to attack me right now, this one down below, and let's roll the dice and find out what happens here. Hopefully we can actually take this one out. Unfortunately, that roll is going to be a complete wash. I have no key points to re-roll, but we did get the one we need to defend against the attack coming at us, and our one going at it would be blocked, so nothing happens. Last but not least, the Necromancer down here is going to be coming at us from range, so we're able to roll 4 elemental dice, looking for defensive symbols only, because this thing can only attack from melee, so I can't get anything back on the offensive side, but trying to get defense here to negate. But here's the horrible thing, is it's throwing 3 black dice. As we know, that is very bad. It's resulted in some pretty nasty hits so far, so let's see how this goes. Don't have high hopes for this one. What an absolutely awesome roll. I did not know the red companion would hold back that much rage. We got 3 right off the bat for the fire element. That's going to be awesome. That's going to give us a key point if we keep these 3. Plus, we could use Rallying Cry, which allow us to do some healing after the fact. So it's pretty good. Pretty good overall, but no defense to stop the 3 that would be coming at us. But do we really care in this situation? Because we would be getting some damage through. It would be pretty solid at 2. Now, I had 2 key points remaining for my red companion, so let's go ahead and use one and see if we can fish a defensive icon just to stop at least one of the damage coming through, and maybe we'll just get lucky and get another fire. So either way, we're good there. All right, so we got ourselves 1 defense, so 2 will come through, so we are taking some damage, which means we are going to get corrupted as well. We're dropping for a purity of 5 down to 3. We're also taking 2, but we're doling 3 back at the Necromancer, defended by 1, so 2 getting through. All right, so the Necromancer's got 2 damage on it. We're going to go ahead and take 2 damage as well, dropping us into a weakened state, which is not so great. We're also going to take some corruption here in our purity, dropping us down to 3. Now, honor is gained when you put damage on the enemy when you're doing an action. This is not an action, it's more of a reaction to the enemy taking an action against you per the prototype rules. So no honor gained here or in any of the other attacks that we put damage on, like up there with my main champion. We got 3 fire symbols, so we get to trigger Rallying Cry. So inside of melee combat, we get to regain 1 life point. So we actually jump right back up, and now we're at 3. That's going to do it for the enemy phase. We have the zombie spawn occurring, so 1 zombie peasant showing up here. We're now going to adjust the honor tracks. We're going to start with our group honor total. So currently we have 3 with the main champion. We have 1 with the red companion, so 4. We have another 3 from the white companion, so that's going to be a total of 7. And we have none at all for the green. So we have 7 total, so we jumped up just by 1 overall. None of my characters gained any extra key points, but if they had, they would be removed. At this point, everybody's key points come back to the available side. Action points are going to get replenished, so my main character here is going to go up to 6, which is great. Over here, the red one's going to go right up to the maximum of 10. Can't go any higher than that. The white is going to go up to 6, and here we have 3 with the green going up to 9. So we have a couple characters with some serious action points to spend, and we're going to need them. The turn marker's moving to 5 as we try to complete Act number 2 to explore the room for event token number 2. All right, I got myself all situated in terms of a strategy here. We're going to start with my main character, then work through the companions after that. I had to make some adjustments here on which companion goes first, just based on a plan to try to take down as many as possible and clear a path, hopefully to the event token that's possible. So we're going to kick things off with my main champion. She's going to spend 3 AP, and she's going to be targeting the one with 1 damage already on it here. It's a melee attack, so she doesn't get her full 5 elemental dice. On her dashboard, melee attacks only get 4 for her, so she's going in with that. Now, this individual, when it does melee against me, is going to have his 2 white dice, which is pretty interesting. Now, here's the thing. I am going to be disadvantaged in this because there are 2 individuals in this same area, but you never go lower than 4 elemental dice ever. So I'm not going any lower than 4, which is nice, but I do gain a point of honor because I'm fighting outnumbered. So my honor just jumped up to 4, which is awesome. And something else you'll be noticing is I haven't been using my honor or spending it in a way to mess with the dice results, especially inside of turn number 4. Because our honor is already so low, I've been trying my best to make do without spending honor to manipulate the dice. That's a part of the strategy because, again, you got to make sure that your overall honor at the end of the game gets up to the victory threshold, and that becomes, well, pretty tough if you're burning all your honor for die roll manipulation. It's a fun balance. There's times when it's worth it, and there's times when it's not, and we're going to see if we have to anytime soon. So hopefully I get what I need here off this roll. I feel pretty good. These guys are fairly weak up close and personal. Until something like that happens and they happen to get 2 defense. That's really unfortunate, but I really want to squeak past and get what I need to take them down. So what I'm going to do here, and this is, again, risky. I'm going to go ahead and spend a key point right now in order to, what am I thinking here? I do have 1 point of defense. So what I could do is I could use this point of defense to deal with the 1 sword, and that allows me to really push hard for more of the water elements. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to reroll with a single key point, all 3 of these, and not worry about any defensive icons for the sword now, thanks to that little token there. And hopefully we get more water into the fray. And we got 1, so that's not bad. So that's 2, but again, we need to get at least 1 damage. We need 1 more to come through. So I'm going to go ahead and risk it, spend my last key point to keep on pushing, which is kind of crazy, and see if we can pull this off. I'll be really sad if we don't. Now, I don't have to spend this right now. I'm just hypothetically putting it here in case I want to use it. And unfortunately, I got the exact same thing I already had. This is one of those situations where we're going to have to suck it up and probably spend the 2 honor right now to take that individual out. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to change one of these results here to a fire symbol. That's going to allow for 3 right there. And that's perfect. I get a key point off that as well. So my token deals with the damage coming towards me. I take nothing. Then I'm doing 1 damage towards it. Now, of course, I'm doing a lot more, but only 1 damage actually inflicts against his life point. So unfortunately, I don't gain the additional honor off of my dashboard for when I inflict at least 2 and sustain none in melee combat. I have to put 2 on. I only put 1 on because of its life point difference of it already having 1 damage there. So not bad. We're jumping ourselves up to 3 honors. So that's pretty good. And that archer is gone. The archer is an insignificant figure, so I get no glory points for that. We're going to go ahead and make the next attack. It'll be another melee attack using my last 3 action points right now, spending them to attack the individual right in front of me. Now, this one has a full 2 AP. So in this situation, I could get the bonus off my dashboard for gaining an honor when you inflict at least 2 damage and sustain none in melee combat if things work out for me. I also took the additional key point for having this combination here. So I do have a reroll in the mix, which is nice to know this time. Let's see how things go. That's absolutely perfect. We're definitely going to spend the key point here to push ourselves to getting what we need. We're going to go ahead and roll both of these because we have no swords coming at us at all, and we still didn't get it. No. You know what? I want to get all the advantages of honor here. It makes sense to spend 2 right now. So I spend a 2 honor to convert one of these symbols to what I want it to be. So I'll convert it to this. There's a total of 4, more than enough to take out the archer. So that is going to kill the archer, which will provide me with 1 honor for basically putting a single point of damage on it or more. And then because of my dashboard ability of getting 2 or more and sustaining none in melee combat, which I didn't sustain any, then I actually get my 2 honor back. So essentially it was worth it to use that 2 honor in order to manipulate the dice. As I got it right back, we're back to 3. That worked out perfectly, and guess what? Even better, this right here. You'll see on the card, one of the objectives I have is to gain at least 3 honor points during the same activation, and I definitely did that. I got 1 honor point off the first attack, if I'm not mistaken, and the second one I was able to get 2, so a total of 3 in the same activation means I now go ahead and complete this for a glory of 4. That worked out awesome. A 4-point jump on this track is going to have me go here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So literally right now I'm gaining 2 tokens, which is awesome. This one here is really cool. This is a token that allows me to re-roll one of the enemy dice. And I have to double check. It might be re-rolling as many enemy dice as I want, but I believe it's just a single one. Based on what I'm seeing inside the rulebook for the prototype, it's saying enemy dice, which would mean more than 1. It would say die if it was just a single die. So that means I can essentially manipulate the roll of an enemy in the future. That'll be very handy. That's all I plan to do with my activation of my main champion. Let's go ahead with a companion. The red is up next. Now the red companion is in the same space as zombie peasant. We're certainly going after that. Melee attack's going to be 3 white for the zombie peasant. We're going in with a total of 5, but here's the unfortunate thing. We are currently in a weakened state. If our health marker at 3 is basically at the line of red that's on our dashboard or lower, then we only get 4 elemental dice going in. So we have a little less, but we do have our key points to spend if we need them. Here's hoping we get what we want off the roll the first time so I can save it for a future attack. We got ourselves, oh no, we got a lot coming at us right now. That's a bit terrifying. We got a couple here on the water element side, and we don't have much for defense. This is a bit scary. With only 3 life left on my red companion, I certainly don't want to be taking a lot of hits, so as much as I want to lean into the offensive side of the equation, we might want to go for defense this time and call this one a wash. So I'm going to spend a key point. We're going to reroll all the offensive stuff and just hope for more of the earth element. I'm pretty sure that was the exact same roll I had before, so that's pretty tough. We got a lot of offense here. Now I could just stick with this and keep the key point for a future attack, but this is terrifying because of the fact I'm in a weakened state. This roll of 4 elemental dice is really not helping me out. So I could keep this here to block 1. I would take 2 from this individual. I wouldn't be able to kill it though because it's going to be able to defend against one of mine, which is unfortunate. Or I can again try to push to try to wipe it out and also be taking damage at the same time. So maybe what I'll do is I'll spend a key point, even though I really don't want to, although I could spend some honor, but it would put me in the negatives, and I don't want to do that on the red character, so I'm going to keep myself where I'm at. Let's just re-roll these. I don't want to spend honor right now. This is tough. Okay, there's a lot of defense. Wow. Okay, so we definitely got what we want for defense. Nothing's coming through on the attack, but we're also not doing any damage. Thought it would be an easy kill, but it's not turning out that way. Let's go ahead with another 3 action points spent, dropping us from 7 down to 4, and make another attack, exact same dice situation that we had before. Hopefully we get a better roll result off of this one. Let's see how things go. No, it still isn't panning out for me. I have no key points to spend, and at this point, this is going to block what's coming at me, but I can't make any attacks against it. Again, if I spend honor, I can do this, but I don't want to drop the group honor any further, so I'm going to burn the next 3 action points that I have, which I still have another attack in me, because I'm going to try and pull this off without burning any honor whatsoever, and I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I'm doing it anyway. So we're going to go ahead with another attack here and see how it goes. I'm at the mercy of the dice at this point. I really thought this would be an easy individual to take out, but he's proven tough to kill. This has to be like the boss version of the zombie peasant because this is a crazy roll here. 3 coming at me, 3 defense, making it absolutely terrifying to try to do anything further. So I think at this point, what I'm going to do is essentially just call this one a loss. We're going to use Call the Void here to move this to a defense. We'll have 2. So we'll just take 1. I'm going to stop right here with my red companion. I'm not going to try to kill this peasant anymore. We'll have to use somebody else to try and make it happen. Now, one of the other things to remember is if your honor points for a companion goes below 0, so you're in the negatives, you're dishonored. At that point, whatever you roll for defensive elements do not matter. That is one of the most terrifying spots of being dishonored. That's another reason why manipulating dice is worth it to a point, but at a certain point, you're actually harming yourself. Now, my green companion is in a rough spot. Only has 1 HP left, also very close to corruption, so it almost kind of makes sense to throw him into the fray, and if he happens to get killed off, well, so be it, because I don't want him to turn and then have another enemy I have to deal with. He is the one that I'm kind of a little bit scared of, so I could throw him right into this attack here to try to help with the peasant, but we've seen how that's been going so far. We would have the outnumbered situation going on, which would be nice from us, not good from an honor standpoint, but good from the fact that there'll be less dice coming at us from the peasant, which would be a bonus. So I probably will move him in here. The other strategy is to have him go around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here he'd have, well, he has 9 action points right now. He wouldn't be able to do anything attack-wise, but he could kind of hover down here and get ready to go into the room. I don't think that that's necessarily worth it to have him sitting there because the archers will probably just take a step and shoot him and he'll be gone. So let's bring him into this space and make the attack. So 3 to get into space, 3 to make the attack, drops him from 9 down to 3. Also worth mentioning, we're attacking outnumbered. So in other words, the enemy is outnumbered. So we're going to lose an honor, but that honor does not, or I should say the dishonored state that looks like he's in right now doesn't actually happen until the end of the action you're currently in. So I still get to fight as if I'm in an honored state because I was before things began, but it's going to change and I'll be dishonored going forward after that. So at this point now we're going to make the attack here. Again, 1 less die for the peasants, so only going in with 2 white dice, which is nice. And then for us, we've got our total of 5, but we have 1 HP, so we're considered weakened. We only get 4 dice, but at least we have a little less to deal with for the peasants. So hopefully, finally, I can get through this and take this individual out. All right, so 1 defense is there. We know 2 is the life point of the peasant, so we need a total of 3. So we're kind of leaning towards getting those water elements, as that's going to guarantee we can definitely pull it off based on what we have for a roll here. So what I'm going to do, and here's another element I could do, or another strategy I could do, is I could use a key point right now on the green one in order to just re-roll this, because either way, this actually gives me higher odds. If I go for the void or the water element, I can get that water element I need in either case without spending honor or additional honor that I'm already hurting for. And we still didn't get it. Okay, so do we push further? Probably. Let's go ahead and do it one more time. Oh, this is painful. I thought the odds were on me. Right now I have a 4 in 10 chance of pulling this off. I need to get a void or a water symbol, and I still didn't get it. This is really tough. I want to push one more further to get what I need on this individual. I think I have to. I really do. So we're going to go ahead and push for the honor here just to get rid of it. We're spending too much energy trying to take out this one peasant. So we're going to push to change a result that's going to flip this here like so. Now, here's the kicker, is I had this. If I flip it to this, I still don't have defense for that. Actually, I'm going to die either way. That's the risk. Oh, man, this is interesting indeed. It makes the choice a bit tougher. You know what? It's the right time to sacrifice this green companion. Let's just do it. So we're going to go ahead and convert this over to this to ensure we can wipe out this peasant finally. And then, of course, the green companion is going to fall. So that deals with the corruption aspect of it turning against us eventually, but it is going to gain 2 glory points right now as it was killed off. So it's going to jump from where it was at 1 up to 3. The only individual left to go is the white companion. So we're going to go ahead and activate it. It's going to go storming into the same space as all these enemies, and it's certainly outnumbered, so we're going to gain some honor for being outnumbered, jumping ourselves up to 4. We're going to spend 3 in order to make the attack here, and that honor gets gained as we make the attack in the space. I'm going to choose to target one of the archers as they're fairly weak from up close, so just going to be 2 dice, I believe, if I double check. Yep, 2 dice, and then for my individual character here, the white one, thankfully, is at full strength, not weakened, so I get all 5 of my elemental dice, which is huge. Let's go ahead and make the roll and see how these pan out for us. Hopefully we can get a kill nice and quick. The good news is there's no defense here whatsoever, so whatever attacks I can pull off are going to get straight through. We need 2 hits to take it out with no defense, so we could keep these to make sure we get at least 1. We have what we need off of this, so really we could just, actually, we could be happy and stay with exactly what we have right now. Let's just go ahead and convert this, discarding this one to this. This is going to be 2 coming through, 2 to defend. That is going to take out the skeleton archer. Don't know why I was pointing at this. The skeleton archer is gone. No glory is gained, but we did put damage on it, so 1 honor is gained by the white companion. The white companion now has a total of 5 honor, which is awesome, really getting our group honor up there. And now at this point, that's going to do it for all 4 activations. Of course, we only have 3 characters left in play. It's worth mentioning I also adjusted the victory threshold. We'll take a look at that right now. And also the token for the green companion that died is removed from the activation track to not have an issue going forward. So as we end off the Champions phase, just a quick recap, I moved this from the position on 15 down to 12 because it goes down by 3, as that's the default honor that each of the companions comes in with. So when the green one was taken out, I put it off to the side. We drop the threshold down. We'll deal with increasing the honor or potentially decreasing it at the very end of the round as we normally do. And that's going to do it. Also, this token's been taken away. So at this point in time, we're going into the enemy phase. Now, at least there's only 2 enemies remaining, but they're going to be throwing out quite a few attacks here. So first off, the archer is going to be attacking for 1, and the necromancer has a chance from range and close up to attack twice because of its AP value. Enemies are always targeting the individual closest to them, so this archer here is going to be attacking the individual in the same space, which means it's only going to be rolling 2 white dice, which is great. Now, the thing is, we are currently outnumbered, and so because we're outnumbered, we're going to gain some honor from that. So the white individual is going to go from 5 honor to 6 honor. But unfortunately, we lose an elemental die in this situation. Let's go ahead and make the roll and see how we do. My white companion didn't use any key points on its turn, so I do have the ability to re-roll here, which is beneficial. So we got 2 coming at us, and we have nothing for defense, but we could make this one a defense. So what I might do is, knowing that we need to get, and there's no defense coming back, so we could actually potentially kill this thing off if we get the right roll. That is the fun part here. So I'm going to go ahead and use a key point. We're going to re-roll. This is so tough. I'm going to re-roll all 3 of these and keep 1 void, I guess. I don't know if that's the right call or not. Just trying to think that through. I might actually change it and keep 1 of the water elements and re-roll everything else. See how we go. Oh, that was absolutely what I should have done. Right there is perfect. Now we are going to take 1 hit of damage, but that's okay. We were able to kill off the skeleton archer, which is awesome. We lose 1 point of life here, bringing us to a weakened state in the future, which is not good. Now, as per the rules, as written, they're stating that we're going to gain honor when we take an action and actually put damage on the enemy. And we didn't actually use an action. We were doing this reactively to the enemy's attack, so I'm not going to take an honor at this point. And we're going to continue on. The Necromancer's up next, making 2 back-to-back attacks and going to be targeting the individual closest to it. So it's going to be, again, the white champion. A good thing it is. I think I should be able to be okay here. Now, we only roll 4 dice this time, unfortunately, again, because we're in the weakened state, which is not good. We're not outnumbered, but we're in the weakened state, so 4. And then the Necromancer is going to be thrown, I believe it was 3 gray dice for melee attacks. Yes. Let's go ahead and make the roll. Now, I do still have 1 key point left to spend if I need to use it, and I probably will. Let's see how things go. Based on what's going on here, probably not wise to go after the offensive side of the coin. So let's go ahead and use a key point here and reroll to try to get more on the defensive side. I'm going to reroll both of these. We just need to land either a wind or an earth in order to ensure we can block what's coming at us. And we got it. So we're good there. We also get 1, but it gets blocked anyway. So basically this is a wash. The Necromancer's not happy about that. It's going to attack yet again using its final token here. And we're going to roll all the dice we had from before yet again and see how things go. I don't have a key point this time, so hopefully the dice are nice to me. They were definitely not nice to me. We got ourselves 4 coming at us, which is not good. I can only defend 1, which is basically not much. I can get 1 damage through, which is great. So 1 is going to go through to the Necromancer. Yay. But unfortunately, this individual is going to take 3, and that is enough to kill it. I want this character to survive, so I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 honor, dropping from 6 to 4 to change the result of a die. So I'm going to change this one here into an earth. That'll give us 2 defense, only 2 coming through. So we're on death's doorstep with just 1 HP, but we're still alive. So the white companion here is going to take 2 damage, dropping from 3 down to 1. We are still in that weakened state and just about ready to die. And at the same time, we're also taking corruption of 2 from the Necromancer, so dropping us to 1. We are also 1 away from being corrupted completely and turning to the enemy side of the equation. As part of reacting to the attack against us, we are also able to place some damage on this Necromancer, which is great. Just 1, not getting any honor for it, though. That's going to do it for the enemy phase, and a new zombie peasant showing up in the mix, which is not fun as I'm trying to focus on taking the Necromancer down, but things have thinned out enough. I could actually make a push for that event token, and we're going to need to because we're getting close to the end of the amount of turns we have to win this. Now let's make an adjustment to the group honor. So currently we have 3 on the main champion, we have 4 on the white companion, and then we have 1 on the red companion. So we have a total of 5 plus a 3 is 8. So we're actually up 1 more. So we're getting closer, but the threshold currently sits at 12. Everybody's key points are made available again, making sure there's just 2. Action points are going to now uptick. So we're going to go from 0 to 6 here on the main one. We're going to go from 1 to 7 here. And this one over here is going to go from 0 to 6. And we now move into the final turn of the game. This should be really interesting. We got the white companion up first, then red, and then my final main champion to round things out. Now, I don't think I have much of a choice here. In my final turn, I need to make progress. I'm going to use a disengagement, which means I'm losing 2 honor off the white companion, dropping from 4 down to 2, which isn't great, but it allows me, with the cost of 2 action points spent, 1 to disengage and 1 to move, to get into the space with the event token, which is the room I want to explore right here. Act number 3 is called To Lose Your Head. As you enter the house, the air becomes heavy and foul. The sound of hooves outside catches your attention. Suddenly, an imposing figure emerges from the darkness. His familiar armor, tarnished and corroded, begins to reassure you until you discover what he is holding in his hands. The head of a young nobleman. You are looking at the samurai long tarnished by corruption of the Shadowlands. The laughter of the corrupt samurai echoes around you as you realize the horror of your situation. You are facing Moto, one of the worst generals of the Shadowlands. The champion who discovers Shinjo's fate immediately is going to gain 3 glory points, so that's going to be 3 for the white, which is way at the bottom here, going up 1, 2, 3. Act number 3's objective is to eliminate Moto. Going into Act number 3, all the Oni summoning points, which are here, 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 and way up in the top left-hand corner, we have a number of enemies coming in. What we have is 3 of the mounted lost samurai on horseback, as well as Moto himself right there in the center street area. For those intrigued by the new enemies coming out for Act number 3, these are what their cards look like and what you have to deal with. Now, it's worth mentioning, going from Act 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, all the enemies that you left unkilled are going to continue to stick around the game board as you go through. So some scenarios that might clear. This scenario, it does not. So you got your work cut out for you in terms of what you're trying to accomplish here. But as you can see, we've got a bunch going on, and the win condition around this actually makes it impossible for us to win, simply based on the fact at this point that we've lost 2 companions. When you're playing on normal difficulty, 4 of your companions or champions have to get to one of the 2 starting deployment zones and survive the enemy phase of the round in which you kill Moto. So you can tell for act number 3, you're going to need more time than just one full turn. I'm currently in turn 6, and this has all appeared. You can tell you're going to have to progress quite a bit faster in the earlier acts in order to progress things to get to a point to be able to take this individual down. So maybe you can leave more individuals out there trying to deal with them defensively rather than offensively to try to pull out a victory. I might have teetered more towards the offensive side. While that's good and clears the way for things, I think I might have spent too many turns initially dealing with act number 1 before we transitioned to 2, and that might have cost me the game. So even though I lost this one, I like the fact that you can't just go offensive heavy in absolutely every aspect and expect to pull out a victory. There's strategy around how much combat you're going to do, how much you're going to do defensively, and also, of course, balancing the whole honor, glory, and those tracks when playing solo with your different companions. So lots of different cool strategies and synergies to explore inside the game. And of course, each scenario that the game is going to present you will give you different things you'll have to tackle, and you'll make use of different actions, of which there's all kinds besides just moving, attacking. There's all kinds of simple actions that you can take and specialized actions you can take in certain scenarios, allow you to do different things. And of course, as you progress through the campaign, things will carry over scenario to scenario, and you'll have even more at your fingertips. So unfortunately, Moto got the best of my group of champions in act number 3. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed this extended play showing you another scenario from Champions of Rokugan. This coming from Monolith Board Games. There is a pledge manager that is opening up in the near future when this video releases. I'll have a link to the campaign page in the pinned comment and video description for those individuals that are actually looking for this one. Thanks again for watching. Let me know about any questions or comments you have down below. And as always, keep on rolling solo.